Hello, this is Pixie. I just warm my voice up a bit. Get the voice sounding good. Get the voice, get the voice working really. So, I know it's just another day in the life of Pixie really. So I did another video which I upload, or if you watch this, probably already have. It just does come back from Christmas do and thinking about how staff are and and how close you can be and friendships and complicated stuff like that. I think basically the day after, well, it's very strange actually. I come home and I've been taking this magnesium, and it's a magnesium that can go to the brain. So it's something like magnesium cerate or something, and it's got benefits for your brain. So I went out and did a bit of drinking, as you do, and this sort of so I had tropical cider, so it had pineapple something, some malt mixture in it, and then I added some sort of other cider at the end of it because I felt like it could have been diluted. I could tell. I mean, just because it says that it's got a sort of small percentage in it, you just don't know how strong it is. I don't think it's very strong at all actually. It's probably only about 2%. It was 4% alcohol or something. I don't know. But at least I could have, I just had about 4 points. I didn't have loads, but that's usually enough. But if it was a stronger brew, then I probably would have needed about 3 or something. But that doesn't really matter, because what happens when I went home, I ended up taking a long walk back because the transport was rubbish and there was no trains. And then I also had some afterthoughts, maybe how I behaved or how I'm perceived. And I realised that maybe you have to tailor my language to fit the situation better, especially with your work colleagues and how they think. So you've got to be like a chameleon, which is difficult because it means they never really get to know you, because you're always going to be shielding some stuff, or you might be talking in a particular way, like this. It's a kind of tailoring it to meet the person's need or needs. Because it can go off the deep end a bit, and I guess I was a bit scatty, but I was quite happy to go out, I think. And I think the old narcissism was kicking off a little bit. A little bit. It's kind of just like the attention, doing something, gives you sort of a bit of a buzz, feeling good. Don't know, there was a bit of rain, probably isn't anything now. Maybe a little bit. But anyway, so when I got home, when I got to my parents, some sort of police vehicle, looked like a plane vehicle. It just sort of flipped on its blue lights, off it went. No sirens or anything. So I got back to my parents' place, and I had to work back in Wokingham the following day for another company I work for, and I went to bed and I had I just couldn't sleep properly. I had really weird. I was seeing these weird caricatures of sorts, like it's like people they had like footballs for heads and their faces were distorted and stuff. So that went on for a bit, and then I went to sleep. And then there was my director, who's quite a nice lady. So I seemed to be. She was in the dream, and we were going very vivid. And I was given a promotion in some other position, and it was going into detail on that as well. So I thought it was strange. I don't particularly. I don't know if it think I want an office-based position or something. It was like some sort of like care assessment and evaluation and all sorts of odd titles stringed together. It's like an amalgamation of maybe old jobs and the current. It's just like no. And she was talking a lot in it as well. And when I woke up, she was still sort of like, I was half awake. She's still like talking in my head. It's very strange. Just slightly. It's just like stuff going on. It's like, what? I ain't got mad, completely mad. I mean, it is sort of switch off. It's a bit like just that lucid, a bit of, and just knowing that our voice was in her head, in your head, in my head even, asking me questions, talking to me. It's like bizarre. It makes me feel like it's like different minds operating in my own body or something. But it's different, yeah, because I think most dreams, there's different levels of dreams. Like some people dream in black and white, and you got some people dream in colour. So I dream in colour. I don't know how rare that is. And also it could be they need more magnesium. You know, it could be that they upgrade that part of their brain by using more magnesium. Why they would be happy with black and white, I don't know. It's likely they developed their eyesight, because the black and white part of it is like to do with your cones that give you night vision. So it's about contrast and stuff like that. So it might be more to do with that. And so yeah, so the next level could be can be communication, you know, engaging. It can also be an anomaly as well. It's a bit like if you listen to a tune and you have the music playing in your brain and you can't switch it off. They consider that like a part of epilepsy. The same with like deja vu. To experience that is considered part of some sort of epilepsy, but I don't think it's fully understood. It's kind of an area of a spectrum, because what you tend to have with abilities is you have functionality and you have a disorder, and it's the same with a lot of things really. Like you can overdevelop something, you can underdevelop something. You know, it's like a counterbalance. You know, an example, like somebody with autism might have reduced social skills, but because of the amount of time and focus on certain patterns of behaviour, they've developed quite a strong intellectual structure, but they don't necessarily have extra structures in place that would support them. Like they could be too open-minded, that they're easily deceived, or they experience bad things. So, you know, it depends if it goes against their nature as well. So it's a bit like, for me, I've got a lot of empathy and I'm a carer personality. But if I'm abused in some way, it starts creating some alternate side to me. So when that guard breaks down, a more, I guess the opposite of persona would arise. It's the breakdown of the psyche versus some kind of I guess you're in the demon really. It's like it normally is a counterbalance to why you shouldn't do something or whatever, but it's basically it is dependent on the other side of your mind as well. Don't jump in the road, fuck's sake. Don't need to kill a fucking person tonight. I don't care if you're a refugee or whatever you are. So, a bit like that's the dark side. Yeah, so it's dependent on each other, but one might want to dominate the other if you had the opportunity, or it operates as a kind of like as checks and balances, and it's the part that you program to say no, you shouldn't do that, or that's going too far, or you know, rules. But if that also can be work against you, because it's not there stopping you, then you might just go off and do things like pleasure seeking, basically, without any kind of restraint. But equally, it could be the instigator for certain behaviours as well. So I guess it's a kind of, like I say, it's meant to be as a sort of counter version of yourself. I guess it harmonises the yin and yang of your being. But if you remove one of them, you don't have any resistance there. The other ones can manifest as well. And that's just so annoying. There we go. So yeah, it breaks down. You might get a more dominant level, or it might have to up its ante because it's built up like a volcano. So you get into a rage mode, and then you basically can go beyond and just be completely destructive for a while, and you'll feel overwhelmed by his power. But like God power, because it's you basically never had to worry about anything in your own way of thinking. Like, I didn't have to worry about hurting their feelings because they've already taken me to the edge. And then I guess once you've experienced that, you're aware of it. It's you can be summoned then, because it's a fracture, or it acts as a kind of like an access point or a trigger point. So when it's threatened with harm, it's present there. I guess really comes back to I think it's Shiva and Kali, is that these Bohemian demons or whatever they were causing complete mayhem and order, and brought this god to sort of feel quite angry and vulnerable. And from that moment, it's kind of seeded from his own karma, brought forth Kali. But there's lots of stories about it. But it might be a kind of a transmutation of a part of the psyche, because if you're meant to be good by design and you're not capable of really causing harm, but you're a creator, then in that essence you create something to undertake the work that you're not able to do. And that's what we do. We seed things in our mind. You know, it's a bit like people that are quite dangerous have taken years to get to that point because they've put things in place there. I mean, there's some people that are just dangerous anyway, who never had that in the first place, but they're unlikely to be planning some sort of torture or something to some degree that's way beyond the other person, because they might think, well, no, you do that, so they get 100 times worse or something. Let's see, any time now. So yeah, it's just interesting in the mind, so maybe I should develop it a bit more, or it could be the combination of alcohol and magnesium, and it's given me kind of like a magnesium trip, because the alcohol would have probably helped my brain absorb more maybe, or would have released more actively, because I don't tend to have these kind of vivid dreams. Yeah, it depends what the triggers are. So that was interesting. Magnesium and alcohol. Anything else? Yeah, I also tried. I did the other video, and it basically ran out of juice. I think. Well, it ran out of storage, so it cut it short. So I've got a few. So with investments, well, it could be investing in yourself in some way. The timing's key. So, do you buy before Christmas? Do you buy after? Will it go up? I think a lot of people at the moment, I was looking at something, they're putting the price up because of Christmas. They want people to buy at a high level. If it goes too high, then it's just no point. You just set yourself a point where you say no. Because the fear is, like, I was going to go up and I'll never be able to buy it. Which can happen, but it might be worth the risk of just not. I mean, there's always other projects. And some projects that look great, and they're just like a load of rubbish, I think. There's one where you'll be like paying membership, and then it's like mining Bitcoin, so you get like a dividend back, basically. It could be anything, really. You invest in something and you're getting a dividend back, but you have to pay yearly membership, and then, you know, if it doesn't actually bring that much in, so by the time you bought you paid out for what you're looking for, you paid out for this, it's going to cost £600, and then, like I say, the following year you've got to pay another £300. It's like, no, it's probably not worth it. So it might be better just to buy something that pays out. But the there's two of them I'm looking at. There's hydro whales, which I've got a couple of, and I'm just going to like leave them alone, and hopefully they pay me loads and loads of wonga. That'd be great if they do, because it would actually start creating a new life for myself. Because the other thing about my the director I saw is she's going off having skiing trips and stuff. I'm working round the clock for this woman because I care about the business and the clients, and I mean she obviously cares as well, but because of she's at the upper end, she could just do what she likes. And yeah, so it's kind of like I'm just like a wage slave, really. That's where I am. I'm trying to be happy, but I just feel like a simp buyer. I'd rather just get my own standing on my feet and stuff. I mean, she's my friend. That's fine. That's the way it works. It's always difficult because if you're somebody you kind of admire, or you like certain qualities in them, then you'll always be looking for more from that. Obviously, I wouldn't be like that, because it would just be like suicide. And also, she doesn't see that as the same way. I mean, she finds me funny, but that's it, really. So even if there was the opportunity, I'd just say nah, because it gets too complicated and toxic. You kind of running on some interest, and it just doesn't make sense. But it's basically just built into afraid. I think about some sexes. Sometimes you can get along with a person if there's no attraction there. So I have to remove attraction from the equation and find reasons not to like someone. And if you can't do that, then you're probably too invested. Which means you just got to bloody avoid them, afraid, or whatever. Which might be more difficult than it appears, but that's the way things are. And I think so. 2023 health. I've got to work on my health. I seem to have a bloody dry cough all the time. I've got these high blood meds. I seem to be easing off them for a bit, and then I noticed it's like creeping up again, the blood pressure. So I hope that's in my bag. Bloody lost that. I'll be in trouble. So yeah, I've had to go back on with it. So I noticed it go up. I was like discomfort in my chest, and stuff that was associated with high blood pressure, palpitations, all sorts of things. So it's not so great. It's not great at all, to be honest. Because you can notice your heart just stop, and then it starts a second later, but you're just worried that as it stops, and it's not going to start back up again. Or it's just the arrhythmia, basically, of sorts. I mean, it's fairly stable though, because I had it checked. I had a cardiogram done. Yeah, so I need to concentrate on other things in my life, and that's the next step. So I spend a lot of time researching stuff online for the basic, just to find the best way to invest, and then just get more money out of it. Now I think I need to apply that to a lot of things, really. But it's just all that studying, isn't it? Right. This is Pig 7 off. Have a great one, and speak to you soon. Bye.